Mission 2 of my Normandy campaign, I'm flying with the Luftwaffe for the first time. This is the FW-190A6 and we're going to intercept bombers. My squadron is based at Saint-Omer. The enemy bombers are heading in from the north, in between Calais and Dunkirk. Our job is to get up there as quickly as possible and take them down. We've just lifted from Saint-Omer. I've got the additional armour plates fitted to the FW-190 because the bombers we're going after have a lot of gun positions on board. I've entered into a clockwise turn, which is actually going to take us south, away from the bombers. I've done that because we need to gain altitude. The bombers are going to be flying at about 4,000 meters. It will take us a few minutes to climb to that altitude, and then we'll be in a better position to engage. The bombers have just made landfall on the western edge of Gravelines. The B-26 has gun emplacements all over, so it's very well defended. Sadly, it's an AI-only plane. You can't fly it yourself in the game. We're now up at 3,500 meters, still climbing. And I can see the bombers off my long 3 o'clock. They're about 15 kilometers away. Here's the current situation. My squadron is south of Saint-Omer. We're heading west-southwest. The bombers are heading south-southwest, and we are now on an intercept course. We're just coming up to 4,000 meters, which will put us co-out with the bombers. They're still about 12 kilometers away, but we are closing. We're on their starboard side now. I'm going to switch to combat power and start to turn towards them in preparation for our attack. I can just see there's a column of escort fighters above them. My squadron has now broken formation to engage. The escort fighters are coming in now to engage. I can see a few going past on my starboard side. They're probably going to loop around onto my 6, so I'm just going to keep my speed up. See if I can get to the bombers before the escorts get to me. My 6 looks clear, and I'm now on the back of the bombers. I almost got wiped out there by a piece of his wing. In the slow motion replay you can see the piece of his wing hitting my plane, but I got away with it, no damage done. The bombers have all broken formation. We've managed to take a few of them down. I'm keeping my eye on a couple of them so I can drop back in for another attack. I stalled a little bit there, but I've recovered it and I'm now on the back of the bomber. Got good hits, but the bomber is still flying. There's another one straight ahead. That bomber is terminally damaged, the crew are bailing out and it's going down. Meanwhile, the escort fighters have all targeted this 190 here. The fighters are in lag and they're missing most of their shots. They've knocked off his starboard elevator, but he's still going, holding the turn. This highlights probably the #1 problem with the AI in this game, in that they do have a tendency to swarm over one target. I've continued north to chase down the remaining bombers. There are still a few left in the air. I'm using a bit of emergency power to catch up to this bomber straight ahead, slightly higher than me. I'm going to back off now to combat power as I'm closing in. He's now in guns range. I've carried on north. I can see something on my long 6, but it's about 5 kilometers away, so I'm not going to worry about it just yet. I've got another bomber ahead of me. I'm going to try and chase him down. There are 2 bombers here, this one and a second one further ahead on the right hand side. They've almost reached the relative safety of the channel. Got Dunkirk there at like 2 o'clock. I wanted to catch these guys before they go feet wet, because there could be other allied fighter planes around the channel area, and I'm pretty much on my own here. I've got eyes on the second bomber of this pair at my 12:30. I'm doing about 450 kilometers an hour and I've just about caught this guy up. I almost took a rudder to the face there. I've done enough damage, the pilot is actually dead, and the plane is going down. I've got eyes on the second bomber from that pair. Going to try and shoot him down before he drags me any further across the channel. The crew have already bailed, that's another bomber destroyed. I'm going to point the nose down, turn southwards and head home at speed. I've got 660 kilometers an hour indicated. I can see planes at my 2 o'clock. That's the escort fighters for the bombers, but they are heading home and I've got nothing to worry about. Of the 12 bombers that came across, only this one has survived. He's heavily damaged, but he's got the White Cliffs of Dover up ahead. I've made it back to Saint-Omer. There's only one other plane from my squadron who's made it back to base. The other pilots have had to bail because their planes took damage, either from the escort fighters shooting them or from collisions with debris falling off the bombers as they were shooting them down. There we are, first time flying the FW190. It's a fairly easy plane to fly and it packs a big punch. Mission accomplished, I knocked out 6 of the 12 bombers. Squadron overall did really well, we took down 11 of the 12 bombers. Most of the pilots though had to bail out with plane damage. Thanks for watching, see you again.